Paul is Dead is an urban legend and conspiracy theory alleging that Paul McCartney of the English rock band The Beatles died in 1966 and was secretly replaced by a look-alike. In September 1969, American college students published articles claiming that clues to McCartney's supposed death could be found among the lyrics and artwork of the Beatles recordings. Clue hunting proved infectious and, within a few weeks, had become an international phenomenon. Rumors declined after a contemporary interview with McCartney was published in Life magazine in November 1969. Popular culture continues to make occasional references to the legend. McCartney himself poked fun at it with his 1993 live album, titling it Paul is Live, with the cover parodying clues allegedly on the cover of the Beatles' Abbey Road album. Beginnings. A rumor circulated in London that Paul McCartney had been killed in a car crash after a January 1967 traffic accident involving his car. The rumor was acknowledged and rebutted in the February issue of the Beatles book fanzine, but it is not known whether the rumor of 1969 is related to it. In October 1969, the Beatles had just released their Abbey Road album and were in the process of disbanding. McCartney's public engagements were few and he was spending time at his Scottish retreat with his new wife Linda to contemplate his forthcoming solo career. On September 17, 1969, Tim Harper, an editor at the student newspaper of Drake University in Iowa, the Drake Times-Delphic, published an article titled Is Beatle Paul McCartney Dead? The article described a rumor that had been circulating on campus that Paul was dead. At that point, the rumor included numerous clues from recent Beatles albums, including a message, interpreted as Turn Me On, Dead Man, that is heard when Revolution 9, from the White Album, is played backwards. In Wire reports published as early as October 11, Beatles press officer Derek Taylor responded to the rumor saying, "Recently we've been getting a flood of inquiries asking about reports that Paul is dead. We've been getting questions like that for years, of course, but in the past few weeks we've been getting them at the office and home night and day. I'm even getting telephone calls from disc jockeys and others in the United States." Growth. On October 12, 1969, a caller to Detroit radio station WKNR-FM told disc jockey Russ Gibb about the rumor and its clues. Gibb and other callers then discussed the rumor on the air for the next hour. 2 days after the WKNR broadcast, the Michigan Daily published a satirical review of Abbey Road by University of Michigan student Fred Laber under the headline McCartney Dead, New Evidence Brought to Light. It identified various clues to McCartney's death on Beatles album covers, including new clues from the just-released Abbey Road LP. Laber had invented many of the clues, and he was astonished when the story was picked up by newspapers across the United States. WKNR-FM further fueled the rumor with a special 2-hour program on the subject, The Beatle Plot, which aired October 19, 1969, and in the years since on Detroit radio. In the early morning hours of October 21, 1969, New York radio station WABC's disc jockey Robbie Young discussed the rumor on the air for over an hour before being pulled off the air for breaking format. At that time of night, WABC's signal covered a wide listening area and could be heard in 38 states and, at times, in other countries. Later that day, the Beatles press office issued statements denying the rumor, which were widely reported by national and international media. Various clues were used to suggest the following story. 3 years previously, on November 9, 1966, McCartney had an argument during a Beatles recording session and had angrily driven off in his car. He had crashed it and died as a result. To spare the public from grief, the Beatles replaced him with William Campbell, the winner of a McCartney look-alike contest. Clues. Hundreds of supposed clues to McCartney's death have been reported by fans and followers of the legend. These include messages perceived when listening to a song being played backwards and symbolic interpretations of both lyrics and album cover imagery. One oft-cited example is the suggestion that the words "I buried Paul" are spoken by McCartney's bandmate John Lennon in the final section of the song "Strawberry Fields Forever." Lennon later explained that the words were actually "cranberry sauce." Another is the interpretation of the Abbey Road album cover as symbolizing a funeral procession, where Lennon, dressed in white, symbolizes the heavenly figure. Ringo Starr, dressed in black, symbolizes the undertaker. George Harrison, in denim, symbolizes the grave digger, and McCartney, barefoot and out of step with the others, symbolizes the corpse. Rebuttal. On October 21, 1969, the Beatles press office issued statements denying the rumor, deeming it a load of old rubbish and saying that the story has been circulating for about 2 years. "We get letters from all sorts of nuts, but Paul is still very much with us." Rumors started to decline when, on November 7, 1969, Life magazine published a contemporary interview with McCartney in which he said, "Perhaps the rumor started because I haven't been much in the press lately. I have done enough press for a lifetime, and I don't have anything to say these days. I am happy to be with my family and I will work when I work. I was switched on for 10 years and I never switched off. Now I am switching off whenever I can. I would rather be a little less famous these days." Aftermath. In November 1969, Capitol Records sales managers reported a significant increase in sales of Beatles catalog albums, attributed to the rumor. Rocco Catena, Capitol's vice president of national merchandising, estimated that this is going to be the biggest month in history in terms of Beatles sales. The album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and Magical Mystery Tour, which had been off the charts since February, but both re-entered the Billboard Top LPs chart, reaching number 101 and number 109 respectively. Before the end of October 1969, several records were released on the subject, including The Ballad of Paul by the Mystery Tour, Brother Paul by Billy Shears and the All-Americans, and So Long Paul by Worbley Finster, a pseudonym for Jose Feliciano. Terry Knight, a singer on Capitol Records, had witnessed the Beatles' White Album session during which drummer Ringo Starr had walked out and, in May 1969, released a song called St. Paul about the impending breakup of the Beatles. The tune made its way to the bubbling under Hot 100 chart at number 114 in late June that year and was quickly forgotten until a few months later, when it was picked up by radio stations as a tribute to the late Paul McCartney. A television program was broadcast on WAR in New York on November 30, 1969, hosted by celebrity lawyer F. Lee Bailey, in which Bailey cross-examined Labor and other witnesses about the rumor, but he left it to the viewer to determine conclusions. Before the recording, Labor told Bailey that his article had been intended as a joke, and Bailey sighed and replied, "Well, we have an hour of television to do, you're going to have to go along with this." Both Lennon and McCartney subsequently referred to the legend in their music, Lennon in his 1971 song How Do You Sleep, describing as freaks those who had spread the rumor, and McCartney with his 1993 live album titled Paul is Live, parodying the Abbey Road cover and its clues. Labor later became notable as the bassist for the Western swing group Riders in the Sky, which he co-founded in 1977. In 2008, he joked that his success as a musician had extended his 15 minutes of fame for his part in the rumor to 17 minutes. In 2015, he told the Detroit News that he is still periodically contacted by conspiracy theorists who have attempted to present him with supposed new developments on the McCartney rumors. Similar rumors concerning other celebrities have also been circulated, including the unsubstantiated allegation that Canadian singer Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and was replaced by a person named Melissa Vandella. In popular culture, there have been many references to the legend in popular culture. Examples include: a 2009 Wired Italia magazine article featured an analysis by two forensic research consultants who compared selected photographs of McCartney taken before and after his alleged demise by measuring features of the skull. In 2010, American author Alan Goldshare published the mashup novel Paul is Undead, The British Zombie Invasion, which depicts all of the Beatles as zombies except Ringo Starr. In 2015, the indie rock band LVY released a song called Paul is Alive, which contains lyrics referencing Beatlemania. In 2017, the animated television program Rick and Morty made reference to the myth in a scene in which a creature known as the Truth Tortoise pronounces a garbled sentence, which played backwards results in one of the show's creators saying, "I'm a Beatle, Paul is dead."
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.